Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayat Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shlokir Bhaktir Bhavatir Naishtikir. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 6, Verse 32. विश्ववर्तन्त तस्योर्वोरलोकवृत्तिकरैर्विभो वैश्यस्तद् उद्भवो वार्तं नृणं यासमवर्तयात् विश्ववर्तन्त तस्योर्वोरलोकवृत्तिकरैर्विभो वैश्यस्तद् उद्भवो वार्तं नृणं यासमवर्तयात्. Vishaha means of living by production and distribution. Avartanta, generated. Tasya, his gigantic forms. Urvo, from the thighs. Lokavritkare, means of livelihood. Vibho, of the Lord. Vaishya, the mercantile community. Tat, there. Udbhavaha, orientation. Vartam, means of living. Nrinam, of all men. Yaha, one who. Samavartayat, executed. Translation: the means of livelihood of all persons, namely production of grains and their distribution to the prajas, was generated from the thighs of the Lord's gigantic form. The mercantile men who take charge of such execution are called Vaishyas. Purport: by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Human society's means of living is clearly mentioned here as Visha, or agriculture and business of distributing agricultural products, which involves transport, banking, etc. Industry is an artificial means of livelihood, and large-scale industry, especially, is the source of all problems of society. In Bhagavad Gita, also the duties of the Vaishyas who engaged in Vishaha are stated as cow protection, agriculture, and business. We have already discussed that the human being can safely depend on the cow and agricultural land for his livelihood. The exchange of produce by banking and transportation is a branch of this type of living. The Vaishyas are divided into many subsections. Some of them are called Kshetri, or landowners. Some are called Prashana, or land tillers. Some of them are called Tilavanik, or grain raisers. Some are called Gandhavanik, or merchants in spices. And some are called Suvarnavanik, or merchants in gold and banking. The Brahmanas are the teachers and spiritual masters. The Kshatriyas protect the citizens from the hands of thieves and miscreants. The Vaishyas are in charge of production and distribution. The Sudras, the unintelligent class of men who cannot act independently in any of the above-mentioned activities, are meant for serving the three higher classes for their livelihood. Formerly, the Brahmanas were given all the necessities of life by the Kshatriyas and the Vaishyas because they had no time to spend making a living. The Kshatriyas would collect taxes from the Vaishyas and Sudras, but the Brahmanas were exempt from paying income tax or land revenue. That system of human society was so nice that there were no political, social, or economic upheavals. The different castes or Varna classifications are therefore essential for maintaining a peaceful human society. Jnanatimirandasya jnananjanashalakaya chakshurummilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamaiham Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Scha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vritam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakham Vritamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kantha Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Haribol, dear devotees, good morning to all of you. So, yeah, I offer my respectful obeisances unto all of your lotus feet. And if I make any mistakes in the course of this short class, I would like to ask for your forgiveness. So thank you so much for being here. So in these few verses that we have been studying, we've been studying the Chatur Varna, the four Varnas, the four sets of livelihood for the classes of society. So we're discussing about the today we continue on Varna, or before we do that, we would
Your voice is breaking.
breaking.
Yeah.
I think my internet.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram.
Dear devotee, I'm sorry for the delay. I, I let me my screen again. I'm spotty. Can someone confirm if I'm still breaking up? Okay, so maybe I'll show that it's
Mataji, you're still breaking a little bit.
I'm still breaking. Oh, okay.
Slightly.
Okay. Okay. I'll try my best to stay on.
Okay.
If it's breaking up, I will. Please do inform me. So, right now we're discussing about the universal form of the Lord and how, from the thighs of the Lord, the production of grains it comes out, and it is meant to sustain all of humanity. And in the Bhagavad Gita, we're also seeing how maintains all living beings with a perfect system through which the sun grows grains, the water waters the grains, and so similarly, these grains are meant to sustain all of human society. So we can understand that through the description from the thighs of the Lord's gigantic form. So human society's means of living is clearly mentioned as visha, or agriculture, and the business of distributing agricultural products. So during the other human society was based on growing their own food and taking off the means of the earth. Instead of exploiting the resources of the earth, it is explained during the reign of Maharaj, because of the piety of the citizens of the Mother Earth would freely give to all.
What I would suggest, Surabhi, is to stop sharing the screen. Probably that might help.
Okay. Okay. Also, my internet. Okay, so I'll try to continue by stopping the screen. So before it was the means of livelihood was taking care of the cows, and it's explained in this purport that human being can safely depend on the cow and agricultural land for their livelihood. And so the cow produces all things necessary. As a mother, it produces all things necessary for its children, the mother cow and mother earth. And so we can understand how the human society before used to rely only on the cow and mother earth. And then it also describes in detail the different divisions of the Vaishya. There are the Kshetris, the landowners, the Krishna, or the land tillers, the Tilavanik, the grain raisers, the Gandhavanik, the merchants in spices, and the Suvarnavanik, the merchants in gold and banking. So we can understand spices, gold and banking, land owning, land tilling, grain raising. Human society was so vastly beautiful and thriving off the resources of Mother Nature. Often we think that in the old days, people were just surviving basically off the resources of Mother Earth. But we can understand that because of the piety of the citizens, Mother Earth is giving freely. And to explain that, Prabhupada explains that, can I just confirm if I'm still audible? Am I still breaking apart?
Well, it's much better.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Madhuvati Praji, for that tip. So, the different subsections of the society of the Varnas, they were so pious that that Mother Earth would give freely to all of her children. So we can understand the piety of the citizens. And it's also explained how, because of the impiety of civilization, because so many people are faithless and losing faith in Krishna, Mother Earth becomes dissatisfied, and we can see the effects of such dissatisfaction on the part of our Mother Earth, in forms of terrible diseases, unfortunate droughts, unfortunate sadness among civilization because of such practices. Then finally, Srila Prabhupada talks about the different varnas, so the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Sudras, and how the Brahmanas are exempt of paying income tax. And because of such nice, and it explains how the system was so nice that no one fought with each other. So I would like to go also a little bit into the Chaturvarna. And as it's explained in Bhagavad Gita, Chaturvarnyam maya shrishtam guna karma vibhagasa tasya kartaram apimam vidi akartaram avyayam. According to the three modes of material nature and the work associated with them, the four divisions of human society are created by me. And although I am the creator of the system, you should know I am yet the non-doer, being unchangeable. Bhagavad Gita 4.13. So from this verse, we can understand that this, what we call the caste system, is a perverted reflection of what was a beautiful, thriving model for society called the Chaturvarna, and it was made by Krishna himself. And Prabhupada makes this point that because it is Maya Shrishtam, it is made by Krishna himself, just like the sun can be covered by clouds. Similarly, this Varna Ashrama system can similarly be distorted by by unscrutinizing people, and it can be turned into a vicious form of dividing society rather than using society's talents and guna and karma in the form of being in a team and working for the pleasure of the Lord. So it's explained in Bhagavad Gita 18.44, farming, cow protection, and business are the natural work of the Vaishyas. And so back during the pious days of civilization, we can understand that the farming, cow protection, and business were the natural work of natural. So it's not that it is against one's own personality. It is going with one's own personality, going with one's own dharma in that flow. But given that it is created by the Lord, the Chaturvarna, the Varna system continues to live today. But as Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport, it is in an artificial means of livelihood, in industrial civilization. He explains in the purport, large-scale industry especially is the source of all problems of society. So the Varna Ashrama system has not gone anywhere. It is still living on in our society, but it lives on in an artificial means of livelihood. It lives on in what we call the entrepreneur sect of society. Those people who are supremely talented in finding profit, in determining what needs to be done in order to get a certain amount of profit. They're very, very apt at noticing patterns. So we can see that this mentality of entrepreneurship, of business, lives on today in the form of today's entrepreneurs. So we have moved from Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra to what we call the team model. And this is what Bhuta Bhavana Prabhu, one of the disciples of Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj, he explains in order to teach us how the Chaturvarna lives on in today's society. So this is the team model. TEAM. First, there are the teachers, which we call the Brahmanas. So we have so many teachers in society who are giving us advice and guidance constantly. Then we have the the entrepreneurs. We have the Vaishyas who, we have the Vaishyas who are living off the industry, who are creating profit, who are observing patterns and determining profit through their own intelligence. So for example, profit is just when we see the value in one place. In one place there is a lower value for a product, a good or a service, but in another place there's a higher value of a product. So for example, in another country, there may, for a good or a service, there may be a lower perceived value of that good or service. Maybe people are not so interested in this good or service, but say in another country like America, this good or service, maybe with a tagline, maybe like a fancy picture, an advertisement, this thing can sell just like hotcakes. So the entrepreneurial mindset, this Vaishya mindset, lives on in our society through all of the wonderful entrepreneurs and business-minded people we have. So it lives on through impact. They take a small thing, they put a microphone to it, and boom, it goes off to the entire world. And so we can see how important this Vaishya mindset, this entrepreneur mindset is to our society. And not just to our society, but to our international society for Krishna consciousness. We are trying to take Srila Prabhupada's beautiful Vaishnava teachings, and we're trying to spread it. We need a microphone to spread it throughout the entire world. And so we see through book distribution, to Harinam, through all of these forms of outreach we are doing. We are exercising this entrepreneur Vaishya mindset of going out there and spreading Krishna's glories. Then we have the A. This is the artist or the Sudra mindset. They are always looking to serve and create with artistic talents many beautiful things in service of the society, in service of Lord Krishna. And so we will get into that later. And then the monarch mindset. This is the Kshatriya mindset. These are the people in the governmental level, where they determine what must be done in order to make sure that everyone lives nicely and peacefully. These are the policymakers, these are the lawyers, these are the people who try their best to make sure that everyone is happy, safe, and content in their practice of Bhakti Yoga. And I especially like this acronym team that Bhuta Bhavana Prabhuji mentions, because it shows us that rather than being a division of society based on birth and trying to base off one's own greed and dividing society, it's actually a form of working in a team. We're working in a TEAM. We're working in a team to serve Lord Krishna. So I feel like this is like the missing block in which in why we are not getting along, why this Chaturvarna system was demolished in the form of the caste system, because people did not want to work in a team. They did not understand that each member of society is important and is required in order to serve Lord Krishna to our highest potential. So in the last 6 minutes, I would like to talk to you a little bit about the most famous of the Vaishyas, the most reputed of the Vaishyas, the most wondrous, most blessed Vaishya that we know of in our community, and that is Nanda Maharaj. So I would like to read something to you from the Krishna book, and this is from chapter 5, the meeting of Nanda and Vasudeva. So this basically, the setting is Lord Krishna's name-giving ceremony in Vraj. So there is a huge party. It explained Nanda Maharaj is giving away 2 million cows to all worthy brahmanas. He is decorating all the cows with so many fancy ornaments. All the gopis are wearing such beautiful saris and beautiful ornaments. Everyone is in such a festive mood to celebrate the birth of a young boy in Yashoda's home. And so I'll read something to you. It is very important to note in this connection how wealthy the inhabitants of Vrindavan were simply by raising cows. All the cowherd men belonged to the Vaishya community, and their business was to protect the cows and cultivate crops. By their dress and ornaments and by their behavior, it appears that although they were in a small village, they still were rich in material possessions. They possessed such an abundance of various kinds of milk products that they were throwing butter lavishly on each other's bodies without restriction. Their wealth was in milk, yogurt, clarified butter, and many other milk products. And by trading their agricultural products, they were rich in various kinds of jewelry, ornaments, and costly dresses. Not only did they possess all these things, but they could give them away in charity, as did Nanda Maharaj. So we can understand from this explanation of the vast wealth of the inhabitants of Vrindavan, that Vrindavan is not what we call a poor village. It is a vibrant, thriving community of people who are depending solely on the mother cow and Mother Earth for their livelihood. And we can understand how, because of their piety, they had so much wealth and were living in so much happiness, and Krishna was taking care of them fully. So in this regard, we can understand how the piety of the Vaishyas back in the day, and make a connection to the Krishna book. So this is all I prepared for today. If there are any connections or reflections or misconceptions that I have made during the course of this class, I would love to hear from all of you. And if you have any reflections, I would love to hear that as well. Thank you so much. Yes, I will also share with you my slides also, so I can share what I was using. So just to show all of you, this is the universal form of the Lord, the Chaturvarnyam Shloka. So we're moving from farming to entrepreneurship. Yes, that's all. Okay, and that's all I have for today. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for bearing with the technical difficulties as well.
Hi, this is Ashish. So, thank you, Mataji. You gave the wonderful lecture. But I want to share that you mentioned that Nanda Maharaj is the greatest Vaishnava also in our modern time. Our Gurudev, our Srila Prabhupada is the greatest Vaishnava also, right? He came from Vaishnava community.
So are you talking about by birth? Because we're not saying by birth. There's like Chaturvarna is not based on birth. It's based on guna and karma.
No, I'm talking about that. Actually, our beloved Guru, Srila Prabhupada, actually came from the Vaishya community. Later, he became the Brahmana, I understood. but actually he became from the Vishwa community. I did the business, so I'm just sharing that thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yes, I believe you had a business in in a pharmaceutical company. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for sharing, Ashish. Karna Prabhu.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Mataji.
Surabhi
Dhanyavad.
Sundarachal Devidasi. Thank you so much. Wonderful. I like your that explanation of tea. P-A. Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Haribo.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Surabhi Sundarachal Mataji. Hari Hari.